Good morning. Welcome to Options Tender. It is morning, 11:45. Yeah. Okay. Eastern Standard Time, 11:45. It is Wednesday. It's FOMC day, and I've drawn a line in the sand. So if we not just spike below, but hold below on hourly time frames, hourly candles, then I know to get out of my positions. I am in the short term net long. I have call plays, a little bit shorter term, and then I have plenty of swings out to the downside that we're pretty much protecting. I'm not going to go into the mechanics of options, but the near term ones are essentially going to move in price in much larger swings than the later date ones that have more premium on it. So that's all gibberish. We don't have time to go through all that. That's a whole new video in itself. But so if you're new here, I'm going to show you the pathway that I think we're going to take. I am leaning towards a nice bounce going here into the next few days. And I'll show you exactly why I'm thinking Monday should be a top. We'll see. There's a time relationship there. So I'm kind of babbling on, but what I want to show you is like what's going on. It looks like, we're kind of just floating in midair. And before I get too far into it, if you're new here, go down to that bottom right-hand corner, hit that Options Tender logo, and subscribe. And thanks for all the likes, you guys, and all the support you've been giving us. So our ultimate goal here is to get into this range, this 472 test there. If the market's a little bit weaker than what we think, we'll have to look. The lowest or the most conservative point would be this 480, but I'm really looking in to test the 200-day moving average and such here. Now, it's not going to be a straight line. It's going to be some bounces, but it should be a pretty devastating move. Now, getting just to give a point of view before I'm going to come back to this screen, but just to give a point of view of where I think we're going. We have a bounce here. I don't think that bounce is over, but we'll have, again, a line in the sand to show us where, when I think that, that when we're wrong, when we know we're wrong. Anyway, so I think we're going to bounce and then heading lower, clearly not in that straight line. We had this expanding ending diagonal, which is a blow off top and a major top at that. So this is our primary point of view. If our secondary point of view starts to play out and prices want to go higher after going a bit lower, our targets will be about 560, and we'll know that by price getting over a certain level, and we'll share that with you as well. So I do these videos often. I've been doing them every day since there's been so much support, comments, likes, and things like that. So I'm really just trying to share my point of view and my thoughts on things. So, definitely trade your style. And I watch people too. I pay attention to many different channels and kind of get their outlook so I can play off of mine to see, why are they looking at things like this? Why, should I be? Should I not? Anyway, here's our secondary scenario where this is just a wave 4 and this is going to be a 3-wave move. Then we go up to those levels I was talking about, 560. I know this is very, very busy here, but it's for a reason. I have these levels coinciding almost like a grid with the time ratios, and those are time relationships. So this says that this was a wave 4, and we're looking at a ending diagonal, a regular ending diagonal, where this is 1, this is 2, 3, we're getting down to 4, and 4 doesn't have to, but often it crosses wave 1. So we got to keep that in the books here, just in case we do get that deep of a retracement. And then last move to the upside. Okay, so I know that's binary. Hey, the market's going to go up. Hey, the market's going to go down. No, we're trading to the downside, whether bull or bear. We're trading to the downside no matter what. So that's what makes us traders. I know that my perception is put on the screen of I'm a bear, I'm a bull. Well, long term, I am a bear. Even if we go back up here, that doesn't make me this bullish guy. I mean, in the near term, I will be up into a certain point, and then we'll see. Okay. All right, let's move back to that earlier board. Trend is our friend. And I would just want to dig in a little bit deeper. Now, what's going on here? How come we're just kind of floating up in the air and, slightly negative, but not really moving? We have support. We're kind of breaking into this consolidation area again. But we also have something that's holding us. And if you take this, and this is a good example of, I saw this off this channel built off of somebody else. And really, if you take the top of this channel, that's Nvidia getting to a certain point there. I'll actually go through Nvidia as well to kind of give you the point of view of what we're looking at, how this may help the market actually hold its position. It's the only thing that's holding the market back right now. So really, the market's going to do what Nvidia does in a sense. And so I'm going to show you what that's all about with Nvidia on the daily time frame. We'll go down to 65 for each of these as well. But I want to get this, get that nice trend line that we had from the wedge. You just form it into a channel, and look at that. Just so happens we're holding right on there, as if this were the channel that were to be held. And yes, it does go all the way down to this lower end here as well. It's just not extended. So that's something to look at. Why is it? It looks like it's just floating in midair until you draw some relationships there. But now let's go over to the Qs. Again, we're kind of mid-range of all this mess here. What's happening? Well, I didn't have this drawn in because we were pretty much going straight up, but we did form, and here I'll use this. We are right at a fairly good support here. All right, I know you can draw these a couple different ways, but we have support. And then we lost support, made resistance, support again, and resistance. This is a good zone, especially on the lower time frame. So we're at support right now. So this just isn't floating out of nowhere. I just wanted to show that really quick, and we can move on to I really want to focus on SPY and Nvidia. Let's go over to Nvidia. Nvidia is really, kind of breaking down at this point. It met back above these confluence of the 50, the 20 simple, and the 8 EMA, and now it's back under it. So, clearly that's a bearish signal. But look at this flag. We broke down, got back above it, and we're really testing it right now. Is it going to hold? If this area doesn't hold, and I know that we're a little bit under it right now, that doesn't really matter. Anything could happen with FOMC. If price holds here, I think we're going to go for another leg up, and that's what the market's going to do as well. So this is a really good spot to watch. We can take one of our trend lines, our support lines, and take it right over here. What's going on? We have support, we have resistance, support, and now we're at support again. So it's not just this flag that we're looking at, a potential flag for a breakout. It's really just this relationship between this the supports here, and we're right at it. Is it going to hold? I don't know. It looks bearish. But one thing that I have to point out is this price action is fairly horizontal. Okay, I know it's leaning to the downside, and I do think overall it's going to end up, whether it ends up down today and going into the future, or if it gets a bounce and then lower, I do think this is going to resolve to the downside. Now, one thing that I want to teach, especially if you're new, is these moving averages. Yes, they can play as resistance, but they're pretty much all going sideways. Okay, so they're very neutral. And to me, that says two things. One, that price action can oscillate around them continually, so we don't have a directional bias using the moving averages. The 50s still pointing up, the 20s pointing down, and then the 8 is starting to point down. Okay, so yeah. But the other thing that it has, when they start aligning like this, that's when we know price action's getting tight and there's a large move waiting to happen. So is this starting to happen now? It appears so. So we'll have to see how the market holds up. Almost everything else is green. You have all these monsters of tech here that are green. Tesla's a little bit weak, but Nvidia is really what we're watching to see if it holds up or not. And we're going to look at these on the 65 just so we can get some more levels, and on the Elliott wave as well. So going down to the 65 minute, or let's take a look at the VIX. VIX held exactly where we talked about yesterday. Held at in the day before, held right at the 50 and 200 day moving average. Perfect support. Now, if we reject from here, we have a tail so far. If we reject from here, we could make a higher low or a lower low. Doesn't really matter. The whole point is that the VIX would let go of the market, let the market go for that bounce. And then when there's a relationship, when we get to the levels that we think the market's going to reverse, then that relationship, maybe we're back at the 50 and 200 day moving average, and we're up at our resistance point that we need to be. So that'd be a slightly higher low, or we spike through. But the next reference would be lower down the 100 day moving average, to simple, coinciding perfectly with this this rising trend line here. So something to look at. If this will give the market relief if it starts heading to the downside. If it continues higher, obviously the market's starting to break. Nvidia is breaking down and dragging the market with it. It's kind of the tail that wags the dog there. So let's go down to the 65 and work our way backwards. Just wanted to give you an update so we could move on with our lives and continue to trade in the right direction. So you see the market's starting to break down a little bit. So the VIX is perking up a little bit. Really, all this is just going to be a mess until it could be, huge volatile moves later, 2 o'clock. So make sure you protect your positions. And then going on into, tomorrow and the next day, there could be some huge swings. So just warning that. But I did draw, and this is not a valid trend line yet. I've just kind of point of reference that if this wants to make a new low, this will be kind of the line in the sand for me on the VIX. Start breaking above this point, I could see the VIX starting to continue to the upside. Going to Nvidia on the 65 minute. We use 65 minute candles. So we have even amounts of candles on the, even amount of candles each day, 6 candles rather than 6.5. Okay. So we broke down here, got a little bit of reaction off, close this gap. And from this point of view, it looks like we have a flag. We had broke out from this trend line, and this is a fake break. So far, that's what's happening. I mean, we're really starting to drop here, down to 6% or so. Let's see what we got on the Elliott point of view. So we're getting into the zone where we either get a possible bounce and higher, even up to the 786 if I can catch some a little bit of momentum, or we break down from here. I think, especially this low, that's probably a 786 retracement anyway from this move, this entire move. But if we can't hold this zone, I think that the odds is that we're breaking down. So I could see the 807 coming up here pretty soon. And let's see if the market can withstand Nvidia when this drop here. All right. It's very deceiving. This seems too obvious to me, but it could be. So let's go to the Qs. And on the 65-minute, we're kind of looking at this. We're at support. I've had this drawn in. I didn't draw this in today. We're at support. It looks like we're kind of chopping around, possible ending diagonal on a 5-minute time frame. But I'm drawing this just to give a point of view that this is a bear flag. It's a beautiful, wedge, rising wedge, and we either break down from this wedge and this support. This is our line in the sand for the Qs. All right, I'm not going to redraw this 100 different ways. If we break down from here, a nice, big breakdown, really, I think we're back testing this breakout here, back testing, forming a flag, and we break down, and we'll reconsider what's going on, or we fill out the flag a little bit more. And this just so happens to be right where our targets are, around the 435. That's former support and resistance. And, again, there's higher ranges up here. And if you look, this can begin to triangulate into the week. Could break down from here, get up here, and then maybe for the rest of the week, it kind of triangulates. We'll see. But it really, this is the point. That's what I'm getting at. Now, you have the 200 moving average. That's going to be around the same area. And let's go over to before we go, let's just look at the indicators. You have this reversal indicator set that I like to use in the options tenor. We're deeply oversold on the 65. Momentum's heading to the downside. This can continue, and this can just kind of shake around like, the bottom area, and we can continue lower in price. But, for this just to be getting started, if this is the beginning, I think we're going much, much lower. And I just don't think this is how it's going to happen. I think we have to go back up, get some divergence, and go much lower. I could be wrong. This is a very binary situation, but I think we're oversold going into support, and we'll see what happens from there. So going over to the next board, wow, right there. We're at the 62% retracement. Big area. So what I think is going to happen, this is what could be. Now, if it's done and we're like this, and this is over, then what I really think, this could be a 5-wave move for an impulse. We get a reversal, can't make a new high, and then we go lower. That's completely acceptable. I think we more or less have unfinished business, and we look for the 62, maybe even higher, but I think more likely the 62% retracement after another move, fill out that flag a little bit more. And just so happens that 435, 436 area, 435, 436 area just happens to coincide with this top right here, this resistance, and the top of this bear flag. So binary situation, fill out the flag more, bounce, go lower. That's what we're looking for today. Same thing on the SPY. We're at a position, again, remember, we have that new channel reference there. So I think this is just a make or break. We break down from this channel and see ya on the 65. So here's how I drew it now. Just drawing a flag, make a beautiful flag, and it just so happens that our level's up here, 513. Now that's a big sharp move to get to that point today. Is it possible between today and tomorrow? Yeah, absolutely. And then that would be a break of this trend line here. So that will be a good reference when and if we start to break from that. So we're triangulating into this area right now. If we come up to this downtrend line and fail, then I think this move is over. All right, so again, our line in the sand is basically the 500. That nice big round number that we're holding at right here at the 500. So you see we're triangulating here. If we break above, we go to the next level. We'll see. We fill out the flag more. Ultimately, this is the bear flag. Again, bounce, reject, bounce, fill out, head lower. And here, again, reiterate, that's our business up here. The unfinished business, the 62% retracement. Can this be done? You have a nice A, B, C here. It can be done. And like I said, maybe this is the impulse down. We get a bounce and head lower. But there is our unfinished business up here at 513. Also coinciding with the 200 moving average. And we're holding at this 62% retracement from this move. So that's our line in the sand. We're not going to play around with anything lower. We'll let our swings play out if we start to break down from this area. But I can't really see this breaking down directly. So either way, I think we get somewhat of a bounce and then head lower, or FOMC just kind of brings us all the way up into the 62% retracement of this entire move, and we get our ABC. And can it go higher? Absolutely. I think going into today and tomorrow, if we do get up here, I think this is a good spot that we make it to pretty rapid. All right. If price wants to go higher, I do think our time relationship that we have here, this is Monday, 5/6, this is May 6th. This will be a good reference when price, like I said, I try to tell you, these relationships don't give you directional bias. But if price is way up here by Monday, I think that's a extraordinary short opportunity at the 786 here. If price is much lower by Monday, maybe we get a sharp move up today, and then we break down for the rest of the week. We got calls on Boeing. I see Boeing's kind of taking off there. Oh, no pun intended. My God. Okay, but if price makes it up here after a large move from the FOMC, then I do think we might have a devastating move going to much lower prices. And if price is way down here or lower, I'm not going to stretch it out. This is just for an example, much lower, and we're getting real stretched out, and then I think that will be a good bounce. So I think something's happening on Monday, whether it's the top or some sort of bounce way lower. All right. With FOMC, price can easily move, in this case, 10, 12 points. That's easy for FOMC. and then for it to take it all back. I've seen it happen plus more the next day. I've seen that happen too. So just be super careful on how you play this. I know I'm playing both ways right now. I'm playing to the upside, a little shorter term. I took off my near term puts. I took those off here today. That was a big deal. This price looked like they wanted to go. All right. And now I have my longer term swings. I'll add on to those long term swings as price goes up. And if and when we get to this level up here, I'll certainly have put protection. But I think, I think we'll play this out either way to the long side, not to the long side for now in the near term, and a much lower. Anything else I want to show you? I think, it's just playing around with us until 2 o'clock. So, but I do think we do get at minimum a bounce. All right. Thanks for the support. That's all I got for you. Oh, let's look at Boeing since that alert went off. Boeing has been kind of devastated for quite some time here. We played the short side on Boeing yesterday because of this channel that we were in. We're deeply oversold on the weekly time frame, daily time frame. I think Boeing's going to play similar to Tesla. And we're making an inverse head and shoulder right now. I drew the support line here. So today, when the market opened, I went long Boeing. I do think we're looking for a breakout from this falling channel. And I think we'll probably get something from the move that we have today or tomorrow or so. Now, technically, structure-wise, it's in a downtrend. So is this risky? Yes. Do you want to wait till after you break out of the channel? That's more conservative. I'll tell you that right now. But I like this support. And so if we break down lower than this support here, then I think something else is going on and we're getting out of Boeing from the long side. All right. I have more calls, but we're not going to share all those today. I do share those in the options guy if you're interested in joining that Discord. All right. Thanks for joining us here at Options Center. Have a wonderful day. We will probably talk to you tomorrow after FOMC.